Long ago, in the land of ancient Greece, there lived a hero whose name would echo through the ages, Perseus. His tale is one of adventure, danger, and triumph, facing challenges that would make even the bravest of men tremble. With his quick wit, unyielding determination, and the aid of the gods, Perseus ventured forth to battle monsters, slay beasts, and rescue fair maidens. From the treacherous depths of the underworld to the dizzying heights of the sky, his incredible exploits have been passed down and retold for generations. Join me now as we embark on a journey through the legend of Perseus and discover the incredible feats that made him a hero for all time. It started, like many other epic tales, with a prophecy. In the city of Argos, ancient Greece, lived a king by the name of Acrisius. His daughter was the beautiful Danae, but no matter beautiful she was, the king was disappointed not to have a son. So, Acrisius consulted the oracle at Delphi, but the prophecy he received was that one day, one of his daughter's sons would kill him. To make sure this didn't happen, Acrisius imprisoned Danae in an underground chamber made of bronze. This way, she would never marry or bear children, or so he thought. For although the chamber was a dark and dreary place with no doors, there was a small crack in the ceiling that allowed a sliver of light. It was through this very opening that the mightiest of the Greek gods, Zeus, was able to visit Danae. Enchanted by her incomparable beauty, Zeus descended upon her in a shower of shimmering golden rain, landing in her lap. The boy, Perseus, who was born from this miraculous encounter, was therefore a demigod, son of Zeus and the mortal princess Danae. Sometime later, Acrisius was shocked to discover Danae cradling a newborn baby boy in her arms, within the confines of her chamber. Unable to accept the truth of Perseus's conception, the king imprisoned both Danae and Perseus in a wooden chest, before casting the chest into the rough seas. Fearful for their lives, Danae prayed to the gods, and possibly thanks to their help, she and her son made it safely through the waves to the shores of Serifos. They were kindly taken in by a fisherman named Dictys, who happened to be the brother of the island's king, Polydectes. While Polydectes was known to be a fair king, his name meaning he who welcomes many. In order to avoid any potential conflict, Dictys took great care to shield Danae and Perseus from the prying eyes of all Seriphians. It was many years before anyone became aware of Danae and Perseus's presence on the island, but as if Dictys knew what would happen, the moment Polydectes eventually caught sight of Danae, the king immediately fell in love with her. Despite the king's persistent efforts to win her over, though, the hesitant mother refused Polydectes' advances time and time again, even when he eventually proposed marriage. As a ruler, such rejections were unacceptable to Polydectes' reputation. Thus, he became determined to win Danae by any means necessary. His primary obstacle, as he saw it, was her son, Perseus, who had not taken kindly to the king. Therefore, the king concocted a devious plan to rid himself of the young hero. Polydectes falsely claimed to have proposed to Hippodamia, the daughter of King Oenomaus of Pisa in Elis. According to royal decree, every citizen of Serifos was required to contribute a horse as a bridal gift, as Hippodamia's name meant tamer of horses. However, as a poor man, Perseus was unable to fulfill this obligation and therefore asked Polydectes to suggest an alternative gift, promising to procure it no matter what it was. Seizing the opportunity, Polydectes made an audacious request, commanding Perseus to bring him the head of Medusa, fully aware that such a task would likely result in Perseus's demise. After all, even a mere glance from the snake-haired monster was enough to turn any man to stone. After only a few days had passed, Perseus embarked on his perilous quest. For days he roamed, fruitlessly searching for the gorgon's lair, which was shrouded in mystery and known only to the gods. Thankfully, the gods took pity on Perseus's plight and came to his aid in the form of Athena, the goddess of wisdom, and Hermes, the messenger of the gods. They instructed him to seek out the Graii, the sisters of the Gorgons, who were said to possess vital information that could help him locate his target. The Graii were a trio of elderly women with gray hair who resided in a cave and shared a single eye and tooth between them. As one of the women was about to pass on the eye and tooth to another, Perseus seized them and coerced the Graii into assisting him. With no other option, the Graeae divulged to Perseus that he should seek out the Hesperides, the nymphs tending Hera's orchard in the north, who possessed valuable items including winged sandals and a kibisis, a magical, impenetrable bag with which he could secure Medusa's head. After arriving at the orchard, Perseus discovered that the nymphs also had in their possession a highly coveted item, Hades' cap of invisibility. Perseus was granted the kibisis, the winged sandals, and the helm of Hades to help him in his quest. He also received an adamantine sickle from Hermes and a gleaming bronze shield from the goddess Athena. Armed with all the necessary equipment, Perseus proceeded to Medusa's lair. The cap allowed him to see without being seen, while the sandals granted him the power of flight. So, quietly and invisibly, he approached the slumbering Gorgons, focusing on the reflection of Medusa in Athena's bronze shield, so as not to look at her directly. Following Athena's guidance, he raised the sickle given to him by Hermes and beheaded the monstrous Gorgon. Unexpectedly, two creatures sprang forth from Medusa's body, a winged horse known as Pegasus, and a golden sword-wielding soldier named Chrysaor, the unborn offspring of Medusa and Poseidon. Ever aware of the danger still posed by Medusa's severed head, Perseus swiftly placed it in his enchanted bag and, using his winged sandals, made his escape from the furious Gorgons, who returned to their dwelling to mourn their fallen sister. According to legend, the lamenting sounds of the Gorgons' cries inspired Athena to invent the double pipe, or aulos. Perseus's trials were not over yet, though. During his journey back to Serifos, the hero encountered Atlas, a titan who was doomed to bear the weight of the heavens on his shoulders for eternity. By differing accounts, Atlas was either a shepherd or a king at this time, but was not willing to grant Perseus hospitality, so Perseus killed Atlas by showing him the head of Medusa. Some versions of the tale combine it with that of Heracles, claiming that upon reaching Atlas's kingdom, Perseus requested shelter from the Titan, informing him that he was a son of Zeus. However, Atlas denied Perseus because he was concerned about another prophecy, one that foretold a son of Zeus stealing his prized golden apples from his orchard. Ultimately, the son of Zeus in question would turn out to be Heracles, not Perseus. Either way, Atlas was killed by Perseus for his hostility and was possibly transformed by the head of Medusa into a massive mountain range, a formation which still stands today in North Africa and is known as the Atlas Mountains. Continuing his journey, Perseus arrived in the land of the Ethiopians next, where he encountered King Cepheus and his queen, Cassiopeia. The latter had angered the sea god Poseidon after boasting that her daughter, Andromeda, was as beautiful as the Nereids, the female spirits of sea waters. In retaliation, Poseidon sent a flood and a sea serpent named Cetus to destroy the kingdom of Ethiopia. The oracle of Ammon declared that the only way to end this destruction was to sacrifice Andromeda to the monster. As a result, Andromeda was stripped and chained to a rock on the shore. It was at this time that Perseus came to her rescue, killing the monster and freeing Andromeda, whom he then took as his wife. When Cetus appeared, Perseus used his winged sandals to fly over the beast's head and attacked it with either his adamantine sickle or by holding up the head of Medusa. Overwhelmed by Perseus's courage and skill, King Cepheus of Ethiopia happily gave his daughter's hand in marriage to him. Within a year, the couple welcomed their first child, Perseus, who would go on to become the forefather of all future Persian kings. Andromeda, whose name means Queen of Men, then accompanied her husband to Tiryns in Argos, and through their son Perseus, became the forebear of the Perseid dynasty that ruled over Tiryns. Following her passing, Athena placed Andromeda among the constellations in the northern sky, close to Perseus and Cassiopeia. As Perseus flew homewards over the sands of Libya, the drops of blood from Medusa's head is said to have created a race of poisonous snakes. Interestingly, one of these snakes would eventually kill Mopsus, a member of the Argonauts. Upon returning to Serifos, Perseus discovered from Dictys the extent of Polydectes' deception. Not only had the king not really married Hippodamia, but he had also been harassing Danae since Perseus left. Outraged, Perseus stormed into Polydectes' palace and found him feasting with his attendants. Perseus then raised Medusa's head, turning everyone who looked upon it into stone. He appointed Dictys as king in place of the fisherman's petrified brother before returning the divine items he'd received to their rightful owners. Perseus also gifted Athena the head of Medusa, which she subsequently placed in the center of her shield, the Aegis, where it became one of her most recognizable symbols. While Perseus's quest had seemingly ended, there was still the matter of his grandfather, King Acrisius. Some say Perseus sought to forgive him, so he brought Danae and Andromeda with him back to Argos. However, upon learning of Perseus's return and still haunted by the prophecy of being killed by his grandson, King Acrisius fled to the Pelasgian land. Ironically, Perseus also traveled there shortly after to attend the funeral games that were being held by the king of Larissa in honor of his own deceased father. While Acrisius was still in hiding during the discus event, Perseus's throw went awry and struck an elderly man, killing him instantly. In a twist of fate, it was revealed that the old man was Acrisius himself, making the prophecy come true after all. Perseus, feeling ashamed to return to Argos after inadvertently killing his grandfather, decided to seek refuge in Tiryns. Perseus surrendered his claim to the throne of Argos, exchanging it for the throne of Tiryns in a deal with King Megapenthes. Later, Perseus founded Mycenae, where he and his wife Andromeda lived happily and had at least one daughter and 6 sons. Their descendants went on to become great kings, with the most renowned being Heracles, their great-grandson, and the most celebrated of all Greek heroes. Interestingly, Perseus is one of the only heroes in Greek mythology to receive a somewhat happy ending. An important figure in Greek mythology, he's known for his heroic deeds and his connections to the gods. He is, of course, most famous for slaying the gorgon Medusa, but his story encompasses much more than that. It involves gods like Zeus, Athena, and Hermes, as well as other mythical creatures like the sea monster Cetus. As a demigod, Perseus is known for his resourcefulness and cunning, since he was able to complete many difficult tasks with the help of his magical items, such as the winged sandals and the mirrored shield. His bravery and cleverness have inspired countless tales and works of art throughout the centuries, with his story being retold in many different forms, including literature, art, and film. Notable examples being a sculpture by Benvenuto Cellini, which shows Perseus holding the head of Medusa in one hand and his sword in the other, and works ranging from Ovid's Metamorphoses to Percy Jackson's The Lightning Thief. Perseus is an enduring figure in Greek mythology, whose legacy and influence have spread far beyond the boundaries of ancient Greece. His story of bravery, resourcefulness, and cunning continues to inspire and captivate people of all ages and cultures. If you were inspired by this legend, remember to leave a like and share this video with others who might enjoy it. Feel free to let us know which myths and legends you'd like to see covered next, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Until then, thanks for watching.